I will fight!
Welcome to CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling. My name is Eric Ardula along with John House, and Combat Zone, we are here tonight to offer you, the fans, the alternative.
This is what the other companies didn't want you to see. CZW, everybody wants it gone. We're here to stay. We're here for you, the fans.
CZW came out of a basement in New Jersey and is now worldwide. Our championship, the only world championship on the circuit today, defended regularly in Mexico, in England, in Japan, and all over the United States. We bring you barbed wire, fluorescent light tubes, high-flying action, and wrestling. Eric Ardula along with John House, and we are here live tonight in Sewell, New Jersey for Combat Zone Wrestling. No rules, no limits.
And Eric, this place is sold out and jacked up. The people are going nuts. Big tag team title defense here tonight for the Backseat Boys against Sick Nick Mondo and Rick Blade.
And this tag team match should be an absolute classic here at CZW. Here comes Sick Nick Mondo with the opportunity of a lifetime here tonight as he challenges for his first time at the Gold.
The Brazilian martial arts student Nick Mondo, probably in the biggest match of his career with a partner who he has not teamed with very much.
And of course, right there, you see Rick Blade, along with Shorty, his manager, wife, and who some people around here, namely the person next to me, likes to call a troublemaker.
Women are the root of all evil, Eric Ardula. I know for a fact that Shorty is causing the problem between Rick Blade and Sick Nick Mondo.
Rick Blade, some like to call our franchise player here in CZW, a former junior heavyweight champion here in the Combat Zone on 2 different occasions, losing that belt to a lot of controversy.
But tonight, some would say that this team of Rick Blade and Nick Mondo would be the underdog. I'm going to have to say they're the favorites. No one has got to scout them and see them together as a tag team. Everybody knows the Backseat Boys.
And we are about to witness, no, it's not Bobby, Stan, or Dennis, or Norvell, or Coco. We are about to see, there he is, Johnny Kashmere, as he proudly walks out with his tag team championship belt. Trent Acid to the left, a former junior heavyweight champion in his own right. And that right there in the green is their super agent, Nadu.
The brains behind the Backseat Boys, Eric. And the Backseat Boys did not come into gold until they acquired the services of the Duke.
Well, a lot of story going into this matchup here. It was last month, and they said it couldn't be done, in which Rick Blade's manager, Shorty, was attacked by the Hate Club during a match with Trent Acid. Nick Mondo, they say chivalry is dead. All he did was come out to the aid of Shorty, and Rick Blade did not seem all too pleased.
Well, in my opinion, Nick Mondo did the right thing. It is not his fault that Shorty sees him as her knight in shining armor. Where was Rick Blade?
Well, of course, the Backseat Boys, Johnny and Trent, have a lot to prove here tonight. This, their first ever CZW Tag Team title defense, and some question how legitimate they are as champions. All they did was defeat one man on a two-man team, as they defeated one half of the Haas brothers, who was unable, the other one, to make that night's event. That night, the Backseat Boys, 2-on-1, became Tag Team champions. But of course, Hitman, earlier tonight, we saw what happened between them and Nick Burke during a match that Nick Burke had. They went in there, they interfered, of course, Nick Burke, none too pleased, and they broke up the softcore connection, and Nick has something to say about that, and we could see that play out later tonight as well.
How could you come out here and question the talent of the Backseat Boys? They are arguably the greatest tag team champions in the history of CZW.
Well, it's on, Hitman, as Johnny Kashmere and Rick Blade with the collar and elbow tie-up, and Johnny Kashmere, who would have thunk it? He's the first to go to his feet and successful in the attempt against Rick Blade.
You know, people come up and they ask me all the time, how did the Backseat Boys do it against all the great tag teams? I say, you know what? They just simply outsmart them, just like Johnny Kashmere just outsmarted Rick Blade.
They beat Russ Haas. Charlie Haas was not even in the building that night. And of course, a shoulder takedown by Johnny Kashmere, up and over Rick Blade, the martial artist, a man with lethal feet is Rick Blade. And Johnny going for the crescent kick once again. Very interesting psychology here being played out by the Backseat Boys.
You notice how Johnny Kashmere is one step ahead of Rick Blade.
Well, Rick Blade, who knows where his head is? Is it in the match or is it with Shorty? And Rick Blade had him up. Looked like he was going to go for that water wheel slam there. Rick Blade lands on his feet. A big snap there, and he takes him over and sits out. And Johnny is in a bad way.
The challengers are fired up, Eric. They have it all, nothing to lose in this match.
And the former junior heavyweight champion of the world, Trent Acid, now finds himself on the receiving end of a power slam courtesy of Sick Nick Mondo. And what is the Dude getting involved in this for?
The Dude's doing his job, Eric.
And right now, Nick Mondo and Rick Blade having their way with the Dude. And maybe that will be the last we see of this Dewey Donovan, super agent.
The Backseat Boys better be careful. Rick Blade and Nick Mondo are great singles athletes. If they can stay together and put their differences aside, they can walk out of here tonight with the World Tag Team titles.
Please, I never saw David Falk interfere in Michael Jordan's basketball games. And Rick Blade and Sick Nick Mondo, they're working as a tag team. The high-risk maneuver is playing into effect there. Rick Blade with a shooting star press. Are you kidding me, Rick Blade? Taking out all three members.
Or was that Nick Mondo setting Rick Blade up for that?
They were working as a tag team. Things go wrong. That's why they call it the high-risk maneuvers. It'll be very interesting to see what happens when Trent Acid and Rick Blade get in there tonight. They have traded the Junior Heavyweight Championship back and forth recently. The last time on an outside show, due to interference from the Hate Club, Trent was questioned as a champion. He goes over to Japan, loses the belt before he can come back here and defend it against Rick Blade.
Smart move by the champions. Get out of there. Get out of town. But they got caught. They should have got out of there when they had the chance.
And Mondo likes to call that one the Mondo Salt, his version of the Azaye Moonsault, as he again takes out all three members, just like his partner Rick Blade. And right now, the Backseat Boys really do not have any answers for the tag team of Sick Nick Mondo and Rick Blade. And did you see Shorty outside?
The Backseat Boys have got to take Mondo and Rick Blade out of their game. They cannot let them continue to hit them with the high-risk aerial maneuvers. If they do, it's over.
Absolutely right. The Backseat Boys really need to slow the momentum down of Rick Blade and Sick Nick Mondo to be successful in this one. Rick Blade and Sick Nick Mondo are not even tag team wrestlers. They are just here for the common cause, and that is to defeat the Backseat Boys. I don't even know why Nick Mondo is in this one. He is here maybe to defend the honor of Shorty, or maybe to become a tag team champion. Who knows? But Johnny Kashmere is on fire.
Look at Kashmere just spearing Rick Blade into the corner, but Rick Blade outsmarted him. What's he going for here, Eric?
He's going for the tarantula. Rick Blade with the tarantula. This crowd loves it. And Sick Nick Mondo putting an exclamation point on that tarantula.
What the Backseat Boys should do right now at this point in the match is just get Dewey Donovan to nail the referee and get disqualified.
And Trent Acid comes off the top rope with a missile drop kick using the chair that Nick Mondo held against him. It's kind of like digging your own grave, and Rick Blade comes up behind him, a cradle into a bridge, hard time right into the count to three, and no, it's only two.
Of course he came up behind him, Eric.
It's all part of the strategy, Hitman. Johnny Kashmere right now all over Rick Blade, and the Backseat Boys right now have an opportunity to seize the momentum and stop the advantage of Nick Mondo and Rick Blade.
This is where the Backseat Boys are at their best, Eric.
And Trent Acid looks like he's going for a tornado DDT. Johnny Kashmere up and over the top, taking out Rick Blade on the outside. Maybe he's going to take him out, and this will set up possibly the Dude to come in behind. We've seen him do that many times.
What's he setting up for? Looks like a big superplex.
Nick Mondo setting up for the superplex, but did you see Johnny Kashmere slide the chair into the ring, and Trent and Johnny working together? Trent sits out with a gourd buster, taking Nick Mondo on top of the chair. You'd have to think this is all part of the plan.
Face first, and maybe Nick Mondo will look a lot better after that bump to the chair.
And Johnny Kashmere outside with Rick Blade. Rick Blade Blade does not want to get hardcore with these guys. We talked about it earlier. Trent and Johnny, they were trained in tag team psychology. They know what it's all about. Nick Mondo and Rick Blade, two singles wrestlers here in CZW.
Look at Cashman just whacking away at Rick Blade with the chair.
And Trent Acid right now setting up for some chairs for something here. Sends Nick Mondo into the turnbuckle. Trent sets him up, swing and a miss by Trent Acid. And Nick Mondo propels himself off the top rope with an elbow into the chair, which hits the face of Trent Acid.
Nick Mondo is so athletic. He can hit any move out of almost any position.
And Nick Mondo right now going up to the top rope, maybe smelling the gold of the CZW Tag Team Championship. He is Trent in perfect position, like a crane. Nick Mondo is up there with the leg drop.
Well, it looks like to me that was Rick Blade's signature move. Is he mocking his tag team partner, Rick Blade?
That remains to be seen. Nick Mondo has Trent up for the Mondo driver. This could be all, Hitman. This one could be over. And Johnny in to break up the action.
This is when the backseat boys are at their best, double teaming their opponent.
And Johnny Cashmere likes to call that one the backseat driver. Johnny Cashmere, Trent Acid, has sick Nick Mondo in a bad way, but they did not see Rick Blade coming into the ring.
What's Rick Blade going to do with Cashmere here?
Rick Blade spun him around almost like a TKO, but decides to sit out on a different angle. And right now, Johnny Cashmere in a lot of trouble. And what is Dewey Donovan doing in there?
I'll tell you what he's doing in there. Rick Blade wasn't even the legal man in the ring.
Dewey Donovan nails a fisherman's buster with Rick Blade, and Hartog's gonna have something to say about that one.
What's Hartog doing? That's not his job.
Hartog leveling the playing field here, and Hartog sits out with the Tiger Bomb. Remember, Hitman, Dewey Donovan used to be a referee here in the combat zone until he was fired by that man right there, senior official Rob Hartog.
Look at that beautiful moonsault by Trent Acid on the Rick Blade on the outside. But Hartog has no business putting his hands on anybody in that ring.
And Johnny Cashmere right now in the center of the ring with sick Nick Mondo. He looks like he's setting him up maybe for the one-hit wonder for him, and Trent's in it. Johnny sits out almost like a snowplow there. How apropos, because the former teacher of sick Nick Mondo is out snow. And right now, Trent on top of Rick Blade. It looked like he missed the vantage point of the camera. Rick Blade gathering his senses right now. And what is Johnny Cashmere doing? He is mocking Trent Acid's full moonsault. Trent Acid likes to call this the full moonsault, but Johnny's going to hit it. But unfortunately, or fortunately for us heterosexuals here, Rick Blade has spoiled that.
Now, what Rob Hartog, as the referee, should do is get one of the team members of the challengers out of that ring. There is no reason why both of them should be allowed in the ring at the same time with one opponent.
And Rick Blade and Nick Mondo have Johnny Cashmere all alone. Maybe for the first time in this match, they slow the advantage. Talk about the double team maneuvers. We will see them now out of tonight's challengers.
If any official should be fired in the combat zone, it should be Rob Hartog. This is blatant violation for the rules, and there are no rules here.
Rob Hartog is a credible official. Do not question the ethics of our senior official and Rob Hartog. Who do you think you are?
The only thing Rob Hartog does credible is going down to McDonald's on Tuesdays for 39-cent hamburger.
Excuse me. And look at that, a double roundhouse kick by Nick Mondo and Rick Blade. And where are they going? A Louis Shorty holding the chairs on the outside.
What are they doing? Are they leaving?
I don't think they're going anywhere. It looks like they are getting the fans right behind them. The momentum right now completely on the side of the challenger. And Johnny Cashmere, the recipient of a Blade Mondonator. He just received the Blade Mondonator, and this place is going bananas.
It's not going good for the champions right now. I think the best thing Cashmere could have done was somehow pull himself out of the ring. He had the presence of mind to do it, and that's why they are the tag team champions.
3 more seconds in the ring for Johnny Cashmere would have been the difference. Notice Rick Blade, the peripheral vision of Rick Blade. He saw that coming from Trent Acid. Trent and Rick Blade picking up where they left off last month, and they said it couldn't be done. What a war here at CZW between these two lately. And look at Rick, just sizing him up.
Those kicks from Rick Blade are so lethal.
Rick Blade is a lethal martial artist. He is like a paid assassin here in CZW. And tonight, he is being paid by Combat Zone Wrestling to attempt to wrest the Tag Team Championship away from the Backseat Boys.
What's Nick Mondo doing with that table?
You know, earlier tonight, the Backseat Boys came out here. They were talking about how the Sophomore Connection believes in not using hardcore moves and not using chairs. But tonight, I have seen them try and use chairs and tables. They're a bunch of hypocrites. And why is Johnny pulling his pants up?
The tag team titles are on the line, Eric. You gotta do anything you got to hang on to those belts.
And Rick Blade with another roundhouse on Trent Acid. Trent Acid, you'd have to think, is going to wake up with a nice little shiner on the side of his eye tomorrow morning. Nick Mondo all over Johnny Kashmere. And where is Rick Blade going?
Nick Mondo wailing away at Johnny Kashmere. It looks to me like Rick Blade is on top of the
Rick Blade, are you kidding me? Rick Blade, 15 feet in the air. He can't do this. If he misses this one, it could be it for tonight's challengers. And it looks like Nick Burke has come out for revenge.
What is he doing here? He has no business out here.
Swanton bomb by Rick Blade. Earlier tonight, the Backseat Boys got involved in the match of Nick Burke. Well, Nick Burke has just delivered a receipt to his former teammates, the Backseat Boys.
Come on, dude, do something.
Dewey Donovan right now, not exactly any kind of a super agent. Rick Blade is feeling it. He can feel the momentum going his way. It is in his blood.
Instead of him trying to satisfy his ego and getting the chance from the fans and the approval, why doesn't he move Trent Acid in the ring and get the pinfall and walk out of here as champion?
And how about the new attitude of Nick Burke? Nick Burke, who used to lead the Sophomore Connection, he did not believe in the violence here in CZW until recently, and now he is carrying what looked like to be a case of fluorescent light. And Nick Mondo and Johnny Kashmere are battling up top. Nick Mondo sizing up Johnny Kashmere for what could be the killer blow. Johnny Kashmere, that is one hell of an Irish whip. Are you kidding me, Johnny Kashmere?
Oh my goodness, Eric, look at that right through the light tube.
Nick Mondo, we may never see that kid again. He just fell about 10 to 15 feet in the air on fluorescent light tube. Nothing broke his ball except pure glass.
That is glass, Eric. Look at his back. Look at all the glass.
And Shorty out there checking on Nick Mondo. Nick Burke checking on Nick Mondo. Well, what is Johnny doing? Johnny is still perched up top.
He's setting his opponent up for something, Eric. What? I don't know.
And Johnny Kashmere up top right now, gathering a sense of the battle. The dude back involved again.
If the dude should be involved.
Johnny up top one more time. And a corkscrew by Johnny Kashmere. He thinks he's in Mexico tonight.
Johnny Kashmere is a world tag team champion, Eric Gargiulo. Show them some respect.
And Trent Acid carrying Rick Blade back to the ring. How about Trent Acid? He has to be going on pure adrenaline right now after receiving that Swanton bomb earlier tonight.
When you're a champion, you gotta do whatever it takes to hang on to that goal. Even if it means taking a beating beyond belief.
Look at the back of sick Nick Mondo. How many pieces of glass do you think are in there? That is just sick.
That glass is unforgiving, Eric. It tears right through the skin.
And right now, it looks like they're setting Rick Blade up for the coup de grace. And Johnny Kashmere has Shorty. Johnny Kashmere has Shorty. Johnny Kashmere, what is your problem? And Shorty slapped him.
She's not supposed to slap him.
What was she supposed to
He's
do?
a backseat boy. He's a tag team champion.
And Rick Blade, I'm not even sure if he is aware of what's going on right now. And Johnny is choking her.
Yes, good. She deserves a troublemaker.
And Trent Acid right now, Rick Blade, I don't even think he sees Shorty there. And he didn't even see her. He didn't even see her.
He just crushed his own wife.
Is that considered spousal abuse?
No wonder why she's running around with Nick Mondo.
Nick Mondo right now is in a bad way outside. He sees Shorty. Rick Blade finally realizes what he did to his wife.
And look who's there to help Shorty, not Rick Blade. Nick Mondo's there.
And Johnny Kashmere has Rick Blade up now, spinning around, dropped him down. And Trent Acid and Johnny Kashmere setting up Rick Blade for the possible one-hit wonder. And Nick Mondo once again carrying Shorty to the back. And it's the one-hit wonder.
That's it, it's over. Two. Wait a minute.
And Rick Blade kicked out. But what about the condition of Shorty? On the one hand, you'd have to think, Hitman, Rick Blade may want to finish up the match so he can get right to the back to help Shorty. But does he want the belt? How obsessed is he with Trent Acid? Is it more to him to beat Trent Acid than to check on his own wife?
You know, you come out here and talk about how innocent Shorty is. That woman right now is in her glory. She's with her knight in shining armor in the locker room.
And Trent Acid with the acid bomb. Johnny Kashmere catches him on the way down with that chair. That's gotta be it. And a valiant effort tonight by Rick Flair and Nick Mondo. Maybe next time they'll leave Shorty in the back. But once again, CZW Tag Team Champions. And you'd have to think they proved us all wrong, the Backseat Boys.
And look at the fans all on their feet for the Backseat Boys.
The dude just spit at Rick Flair. What a bastard. And Johnny and Trent right now celebrating it. What a match, Hitman. Take nothing away from all four of the contestants in this match. What an effort here tonight in No Rules, No Limits. And right now, Hitman, hardcore Nick Gage comes to the ring. That one half of the Big Japan Tag Team Championship that he holds on his shoulder. He holds those belts with Zandig. Not only does he dominate here in the States, but also in Japan.
And this match, Eric Argelo fans supplied the weapons match for the vacated CZW Iron Man title. And if you ask me, and I hate to say this, but going into this match, Nick Gage would have to be the favorite because he holds more victories over the wife beater than anybody else in this business.
Well, of course, it was on September the 18th of 1999 in which the wife beater defeated Nick Gage for the CZW World Heavyweight Championship. So these two have quite a history, and the fans not wasting any time supplying the weapons here tonight.
And in just a few moments, the man's wife beater.
I smell something real dirty right now, and there's part of it. That's Max Smack, and look at him. How does the challenger prepare? He eats a bag of potato chips. There's that old Max in the background, a big running clothesline by Nick Gage, and we are off to the races, Hitman.
And look at Nick Gage, not wasting any time on the wife beater. He knows what he's going to have to do to this man and what kind of punishment that he's going to have to inflict on him to walk out of here the new CZW Iron Man champion.
Nick Gage, one of the most intense performers here in the company. Did you see that chair shot? He nailed Max Smack, the brother-in-law of the wife beater.
He better be careful because that may just snap the wife beater, Eric.
And of course, it was last month, and they said it couldn't be done with 200 fluorescent light bulbs around the ring in one of the sickest matches I have ever witnessed here in CZW, in which Nick Gage defeated the wife beater. Of course, Madman Pondo came along and took that title since then, but tonight it's all on the line. He's gonna pipe.
Just a few seconds ago, Eric, Nick Gage was like grinding this wire brush into the forehead of wife beater, and he's already busted open.
And Nick Gage, what's his problem with plungers? You know, he uses a pipe and he throws a plunger out to the audience, and the wife beater throws Nick Gage into a sea of chairs.
He did it now. Nick Gage picked him up. The wife beater is ready to kill this guy.
It is no rules, no limits in this one, Hitman. Anything goes. God only knows what the fans here, some of the sickest fans I've ever seen, have brought here tonight to sue.
I mean, Eric, wife beater's been all over the world. Death matches, light tube matches. How many guys can actually say that they hold a victory over the wife beater?
Not many. The wife beater has held the Iron Man Championship belt on several occasions here in CZW. Of course, his wars with Zandig are legendary, and Nick Gage, his wars with wife beater's partner, Justice Payne, two pioneers of the company, have put Combat Zone on the map, and finally they are into a sea of mess. It looks like your house, Hitman.
Taking nothing away from hardcore Nick Gage. He was a great Iron Man champion. Yeah, he was a great CZW champion. But can he beat this man, the unstoppable force, here tonight?
Don't ever question the heart of a Marine. Did you see you use the keyboard earlier? It didn't take long to draw blood in this one. Official Brian Logan may as well go home because there's not much to officiate here. A vertical suplex on a VCR.
I mean, Eric, throughout my 20-plus year career, I've seen fans supply
20-plus year career.
I've seen fans supply the weapons, but not like this. We got baseball bats, VCRs, we even got the kitchen sink in the ring.
And who only knows what will happen next here in the Combat Zone. Of course, nobody's seen Zandig. We're still supposed to have a three-way match tonight, an ultra-violent three-way dance between Zandig, Justice Payne, and Lobo. He's using a staple gun. He just stapled the human flesh of Nick Gage.
You know CZW is known for the staple gun, Eric. Did it surprise you that the staple gun would be in this match?
Well, Nick Gage, one of the men that innovated the use of the staple gun, it did surprise me that he was the recipient of a few staples. But of course, again, as I want to reiterate, we have that three-way coming up. We have only seen one of the participants, Justice Payne, who was Tony at the night off, but Robbie Marino told him he had a big surprise later tonight. I think he just got his pay stapled to the back.
And look, that dollar bill is sticking, Eric. That staple is in his bag.
You know, you might want to say wrestling's fake. There is nothing fake about stapling a dollar bill into human flesh. What a knee lift. I think Mr. Wrestling 2 would be turning over in his grave if he was dead about that one.
Eric, just look at the weapons inside the ring. We have light bulbs. There's just everything in there. I'll be here all night naming everything.
Looks like a yard sale in there. Normally we come out here and we say everything but the kitchen sink. There's actually a kitchen sink in there. And Nick Gage with a big forearm shot right to the back of the wife beater, Max Mack. He's got Clarissa Light Tube. They're picking up right where they left off last month. Bam!
Eric, I don't know. I've never been in there with somebody being hit by light tubes. What does that take out of your opponent?
Not only that, if that wasn't enough, he's got a crutch with light bulbs taped to it. And of course, not only are the fluorescent light tubes deadly, but how about the poisonous gases that come out of the light tube? And he just backdropped them into a crutch of light bulbs.
He may have just broke his neck, Eric. And my next question is this. Why would you want to get into this business and be an Iron Man champion and go through all this pain?
Normally in other organizations, they call their champions hardcore. They're hardcore champions. You just don't have to be hardcore. Hardcore is not good enough in CZW. You have to be an Iron Man.
Look at Wife Beater. Just bashing him with hockey sticks, crutches.
The wife beater right now stalking Nick Gage as if he is stalking his prey. Nick Gage, another recipient of a light bulb. There were about 198 of them used last month, and these two still have not had enough.
And that light tubes, they just go right through the skin, Eric.
And now he's nailing him with a shovel. He thinks he still wants him there with the shovel.
The shovel across his back. These guys are crazy.
And the wife beater all over Nick Gage. How about the threshold of pain? I asked Nick Gage, I said, how do you do it? And he told me the adrenaline rush, the momentum here tonight in Sewell is what will bring him the championship.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think's going through referee Brian Logan's mind right now? He has to officiate this match.
What is there to officiate?
He has to be in there with these guys, these sick bastards.
And the wife beater right now with the clothesline, a side suplex by Nick Gage, and wife beater just landed on a ton of junk.
Nick Gage is in total control right now. At what point in this style of match do you start going for pinfall covers?
Look at the glass falling off the face of the wife beater. Nick Gage has a bucket hit, man. I don't know what's in that bucket.
I can just imagine what's in that bucket. Because the backs are all serrated up. They're bleeding everywhere.
That is a live lobster, Hitman. Hitman House, that is a live lobster here. It is lobster night here in Sewell, New Jersey.
Oh, no. Where's the referee now?
If that isn't enough, excuse me, Nick Gage. What's next, surf and turf? And Nick Gage, bloody battered, listening to the adulation of the crowd here in Champs Arena. Nick Gage all over the wife beater. Wife beater finally able to drag that lobster and out of the back of his pants.
And for the fans, if this is what you want to see, you can only see it here in CZW, Eric.
Action like this is nowhere else to be found. We bring you what the other promotions are too afraid to show.
Look at the dent in that trash can. Look, he's just wrapping it around the head of the wife beater.
I have no problem with that, Steve, the Dallas Cowboys trash can. But look at the bloody back of the wife beater. Brian Logan, how can he even make the 3 count? He's wearing gloves.
He's wearing gloves. He's got his hands duct taped for this one.
And wife beater and Nick Gage, what will it take to end this one here? Big forearm by Nick Gage. And a roaring elbow and a miss. He's going to nail the Chokenstein.
It's all over, Eric. 1 count.
That is the wife beater's finishing maneuver. The Chokenstein, not enough to finish Nick Gage.
What is it going to take for either one of these guys to put the other one away?
And Nick Gage noticed throughout the match, he is technically sound. He has a vast array of suplexes and forearms, as well as the ability to swing a chair.
And Max up on the apron. He's holding the speed limit sign.
Max Mack out there, of course, you would have to think not far behind, just in case, and other members of the Hate Club, Justice Payne has been around here. And Max Mack, he's got a 20. Wait a minute, he is rolling him. I think there are
the right shoulder of Wife Beater, Eric. That is a gash. Look at that gash.
Man, is there anything in the world that they don't have in this ring?
I have no idea, Eric, but there's just so much going on. We have tops of barbecue grills in there. We got hockey sticks. We got lacrosse sticks in there. There's everything. What's this?
That is an international object, man. I think he got that out of your bag.
Where did he get that from?
He got it out of your bag.
He got it out of your bag.
He is rubbing a plastic piece of insertion normally used on the female anatomy into the mouth of the Wife Beater.
It's got your initials on it.
Excuse me? And that right there, a barbed wire cheese grater. He is rubbing it. I think he just made him some lasagna.
These guys are crazy, Eric. If I was in that ring, I wouldn't even want the belt at this point.
I just think it was the fans that supplied these weapons. How sick are these fans? And of course, Nick Gage right now with a brain buster. You might as well just give him a headlock. I think that's enough to finish him off.
Nick Gage's biggest mistake here, he's taking too long to get over there to cover his opponent. He's not even going for a cover.
It's not about a cover. He's got, I thought he was going to go for that window. And Nick Gage, look at him just throwing the light tubes around. He's setting him up. I think he's setting him up for the frog splash.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if he even gets it off in there. He's taking too much time. The Wife Beater's been down for too long. And he's signaling to the fans, Eric. I hate when these guys do that.
Remember, Nick Gage is a former world champion, and a frog splash it is. Brian Logan in there, a little slow. To count to three, and the Wife Beater kicks out. Again, Hitman never questioned the heart of a Marine.
Never questioned it. And the pain tolerance on these guys. They hit each other with everything. And the kitchen sink. What is it going to take?
At this point, Hitman, God only knows what it is going to take to finish off either man. At this point, look at the confusion on the face of Wife Beater and Nick Gage. I don't even think they know what it's going to take.
Referee Brian Logan, what do you think's going through his mind? He's in that ring.
Yeah, Nick Gage, what a vicious move. Takes a choke slam and drops Wife Beater's back, his spine right across the knee. If it wasn't enough to rub glass all over his body, now he's going to break him in half.
What Nick Gage should have done there, they've both been through a lot of pain. The only thing he's lacking on those pinfall covers is he's not hooking the leg of the Wife Beater. You will never pin Wife Beater if you don't hook the leg.
And obviously, Nick Gage, frustrated at this point, unable to defeat the Wife Beater. Remember, the winner of this match will receive the vacated Iron Man Championship.
And just think, when you win the belt, you gotta defend it in matches like this.
Every 30 days, and another fluorescent light tube. If one wasn't enough, here you go. May I have another? Yes, you may, Mr. Wife Beater.
Look at the face of the Wife Beater when he whacked him with that light tube, Eric.
And Nick Gage right now setting the Wife Beater up, maybe for the coup de grace. Looked like he was going to go for some kind of a big clothesline there. Wife Beater behind him. Looks like he's going to position him for a German suplex. No, Nick Gage reverses, smack. Interference, and Nick Gage right now, a burning hammer.
Now look at the referee now, right in position as usual. Wait a minute.
Nick Gage just won.
No!
Nick Gage is the brand new Iron Man champion of CZW, but at what
I
price?
can't believe it, Eric. If it was me, I wouldn't even want that belt.
Does he even look like a winner?
Neither one of these guys, but they just been through it before. And I don't know any title that you can call hardcore that can be respected enough is that CZW Iron Man title. That's the king of hardcore.
And what is Justice Pain and Just Nick Gage doing here? Is it not enough already? And a bat to the head of Nick Gage. What is their problem? Because Zandig's not here, they're going to take liberties in their own hands. They disgust me.
And the Hate Club does what the Hate Club wants to do, Eric. They rule CZW.
And how sick is the Wife Beater, who is back up now beating on the fallen Nick Gage. Nick Gage, a man that stands alone here in CZW, kind of like Lobo, but right now nobody here wants to help out. Who wants to get involved in this? You want to go out there and help him?
And, you'll go out there and help him, tough guy.
And right now, Justin Case and Max Smack calling the action. Justice Pain, a fresh Justice Pain in the ring right now, who seems to be obsessed with causing havoc here in CZW. Where's our executive vice president when we need him?
Well, Eric, it looks like this war is far from over. They're still working over Nick Gage as if these two haven't been through enough tonight. Why not just live to see another day?
Excuse me, there's an explosion straight from Japan. Zandig is here.
What's he doing with that barbed wire bat? He Zandig had no business running up behind the Hate Club with that barbed wire baseball bat. They're outlawed, Eric. He has no business in there.
Did you see the explosion on that bat? Now, are we going to have a match here or what? Zandig right now coming to the fallen Nick Gage. The fans here do not know what to make of the action that they have just seen. Nick Gage, he raises the hand of Nick Gage, Robbie Marino in there. Notice how he comes into the ring now.
Of course he comes to the ring now.
He's a former tag team champion, you know. And right now, Zandig holds the bat up high in the air. Nick Gage does not know what to make of things. I don't even think he expected Zandig here.
I don't think anyone expected Zandig, not even the Hate Club. That's how Zandig got in the building and sucker punched the Hate Club, and he hit him with that exploding barbed wire bat.
And Zandig holding the sink up in the air, throws it down in disgust. Nick Gage and Zandig shaking hands, but I think Zandig came to fight. And Zandig and Robbie Marino walking around, the fans in attendance going nuts with the CZW chants. Maybe this is just all psychological warfare on the part of the champ to psych out one of the challengers. Maybe two of the challengers for that matter.
Eric, as a champion, each match you have to go in with a different game plan. This way the challengers don't pick up on your talents and your skills. And wait a minute, Justice Pain hits the ring!
And the Ultraviolet All-Star has hit this ring with impact. A spinning kick there, and the Ultraviolet All-Star is all over our heavyweight champion. And look at the quickness of Justice Pain with the K-Rada press. Takes out Zandig. This could be over!
Zandig didn't want to get in there with Justice Pain.
And this is almost like an Iron Man match with all of the garbage inside of the ring.
Garbage?
It's garbage. And of course, Justice Pain shaking off his hand. Maybe it landed in some of that glass. Maybe he inhaled some of that poisonous gases. How about that clothesline taking out the champion?
Tremendous clothesline. Justice Pain's on fire. He needs to stay on top of the champion Zandig, because look at this.
Zandig, like a monster, from behind him, takes Justice Pain. Look at the show of strength of Zandig. I think he can toss him around at will at this point. And the Hate Club just received a special package, Federal Express, from the champ.
One thing you can't deny the champion is his power. Did you see how he just tossed Justice Pain like 4 or 5 rows into the crowd?
Well, talk about power. How about that mother effing bomb, what he likes to use, where he presses his opponent up in the air and then drops them down and sits out kind of like a Falcon Arrow power bomb. If he nails that one on Justice Pain, it'd be all over. But then again, we have the Pain Thriller, the version of the Olympic Slam for Justice Pain. What was worse, the clothesline or the fall of that one?
That was a big clothesline by the champion.
And Justice Pain, of course, the Hate Club have had an obsession with Zandig and CZW. They want to take this company away from Zandig. I don't know if they'll close the thing down. I don't know what they'll do with it, but they want the company. They want ownership here.
Look at the fans begging the champion to take their weapons. This isn't the fan supply the weapon match.
And Max Smack, and just in case, the former bodyguard of Zandig, right now having a standoff. Zandig right now is distracted. Who knows where Justice Pain, the Ultraviolet
Look at
All-Star,
just in case winding up with the chair in case the champion gets too close.
And Justice Pain like a chameleon here. He can fly, he can brawl, he can get hardcore, he can do it all, whatever it takes to become CZW World Heavyweight Champions.
You see Zandig spit on Max Smack. Disrespectful champion we have.
Zandig obviously not too concerned about Max Smack, and just in case, Justice Pain in the center of the ring. Say what you will about Justice Pain, but he is standing tall in center of the ring, awaiting his challenge of the champion.
Yeah, well, Justice Pain's been asking for this match for months. He knows he deserves to be in this big title match, but for some reason, the boss, your champion Zandig, never wanted to hear the cries, but the fans demanded it. Justice Pain tonight gets his shot for the title.
Well, this match, almost like a dream match here, it was during Zandig's first title reign. He defeated Nick Gage, Cronus, and Justice Pain in a 4-way match to become World Heavyweight Champion. And from what I understand, Justice Pain has not lost any sleep since the night of May the 22nd of 1999, in which he lost that match to Zandig.
Notice how the champion's being patient here. He knows that Justice Pain has nothing to lose. I guess what he's hoping for here is that Justice Pain comes out fired up gets tired out, and then the power of the champion could take over.
And of course, Justice Pain, a two-time junior heavyweight champion, has recently made a strong commitment to the gym and bulking up to get into the heavyweight division. And what a way to do so. What impact to make here tonight against Zandig. And right now, some chain wrestling in the ring, some reversal of hammerlocks. I didn't think I'd see this one at all, and this one had a headlock. Are you kidding me, Zandig?
Look at Zandig wrap those big arms around the head of Justice Pain. He could probably crack his skull with those big arms.
And look at him cinching up on that headlock. Justice Pain trying to power out of that one. I don't know if that's such a smart move to power out of that. Zandig recently in Big Japan, defending the honor of CZW over there, invading Big Japan and successfully so. And now working back on the arm.
Right now the champion has total control at this point.
And Justice Pain reversing that, but at what price? There is still glass all over that ring.
Notice how Justice Pain went right for the cover, hoping he could catch the champion off guard.
Well, of course, the longer this match, excuse me, as the force court there, that not only separates the arm, it divorces it. And Justice Pain using a submission maneuver that he must have picked up on a recent tour of Big Japan.
That's very smart for Justice Pain. He goes right back to one of the arms by taking out one of Zandig's arms. He takes away the mother effing bomb. He takes away chokeslam. He takes away the power moves that could end the match.
Well, good point. And of course, the longer the match continues, you would have to think the advantage goes to Justice Pain with the cardiovascular conditioning. Of course, Justice Pain outweighed and maybe outpowered in this one, but that can come into play in an advantage to Justice Pain, the challenger, the longer the match continues.
Look at Justice Pain. You notice how he's staying on the champion. He's waited too long to let this match slip away from him.
And Zandig going for the mother effing bomb, and he couldn't hold on, and Justice Pain sits out in the reversal.
All goes back to the arm bar, and now Justice Pain stayed on the right shoulder of Zandig.
And Justice Pain, like a pit bull on raw meat all over the world heavyweight champion. I think he's setting him up for that ultra-violent super kick.
Look at all the glass around the ring, Eric.
And Zandig, of course, prepared for the kick. A crescent kick and a miss. And Zandig picks him up and drops him on his back. But on his back, on top of about 100 pieces of broken glass.
Notice how Zandig went for the cover, but he's not hooking the leg. And it took a little bit too long to get over there.
Well, Zandig, of course, the fighting champion here of CZW. He started the company. All the man wanted was a wrestling school. Hours later, days later, months later, he finds himself at war with Big Japan and the Hate Club.
Look at Justice Pain right there. Look at he outsmarted him is what he did. He did his homework.
Justice Pain pulling the rope down. Almost 300 pounds of the World Heavyweight Champion takes him sailing over the top rope. And Max Smack once again interfering in the match.
One thing you can't take away is the power of Zandig. One major blow could end the dream and end the quest of Justice Pain. And Justice Pain knows it. Look at Max Smack. What is he doing?
Weak shots. What does he think he's kidding? But of course, just in case coming in to back him up, those shots will take a man out right to the square of the back. Just in case is a mean man, a vicious man. He has been the bodyguard of several rock stars all over the world. You do not want to get in the face of Just in Case.
What they gotta do, they gotta double team the champion. They gotta work him over. Look at this!
And Justice Pain over the top, taking out the champion. Again, it's an ultraviolet three-way. We have one challenger that we have yet to see in Lobo.
Where is Lobo, Eric? I haven't seen him all night.
Is he in Cleveland? Is he in East Japan? Where is he? Is he over in Big Japan?
Who cares where he is, Eric? Tonight is about the ultraviolet all-star Justice Pain. Tonight is his night.
And you can see the little pieces of glass cinched into the arm of Zandig, the World Heavyweight Champion. Zandig, of course, came earlier with a big surprise, which was that barbed wire exploding bat. But who really is surprised here tonight?
The fans are surprised.
Well, we've seen some great action here tonight, and of course, these two not outdone by what we saw earlier this evening, the tag team title match, the Iron Man match, just picking things up. And Zandig is in a big way, a bad way right now.
Justice Pain just waffled the champion with the steel chair. And did you see the way the chair bounced off the head of Zandig? He's in a lot of pain right now.
And of course, did you notice a fan trying to supply the weapon to Justice Pain, but the cocky, arrogant ultraviolet all-star just tosses it back in the crowd.
He's never asked the fans for approval. He's never asked the fans for help, and he never will.
And right now, Justice Pain setting up Zandig for an Azaye moonsault, and he winds up taking out the 300-plus pound rotund Max Smack, and just in case.
That was a picture-perfect moonsault. It's just a shame the recipients on the other end was the other members of the Hate Club.
And I think it's all-you-can-eat lobster night here, because I think he just hit him over the head with that lobster. Now he just shoved it into the head of Max Smack.
You want to eat? You want to eat?
I'm surprised Max Smack didn't open up and say, ah. And Zandig, look at the body, look at the shirt. The man looks like he has just been through a world war.
Well, he's going through a world war, and he's going to have to survive it if he wants to remain the CCW champion.
And Zandig doing this for not only the honor of himself, not only the honor of the boys in the back, but the honor of the company, Combat Zone Wrestling. Is it all worth it? I bet you he would say yes. And Zandig doing what I think I would never see, not to go aerial, no, psyching out the challenger.
What's he going to be doing up there?
I think he just popped a hamstring by trying to go up there.
What's these guys got? He got the security setting up tables.
Security setting up the barbed wire table. Hey, he's the boss. He pays him.
He's got him on the tank, Eric. The sides are even.
On the tank, he pays him. He's the boss here. But Justice Pain, look at the brains of the challenger. Seeing that barbed wire table throws Zandig to the outside of the other side of the ring.
Why, Eric, have you ever seen in America tables wrapped in barbed wire?
I've only heard about this kind of stuff in Japan. We've seen the magazines, we've had videotapes, but nothing has touched what we are seeing here tonight in Sewell, New Jersey. No rules, no limits.
Only in CZW will you see the ultra-violent action like you're seeing here tonight.
And what is it going to take to end this war? I think it's going to take a capital crime, murder in the first to end this war between Zandig and the Hate Club.
A lot of bitterness going through the mind of Justice Pain. He feels as if the boss, John Zandig, has been holding him back and holding back the title shot.
And Zandig takes Justice Pain. I don't know where he thought he was climbing to. There is no out on top of that steel fence there. And Zandig, of course, reversing things to take it out the challenger.
But they're both down, Eric. Let's see who gets it. Looks like the boss, Zandig, the champion, is on his feet first.
And look at the fans. No fan in this building on their seats. They are in awe of the action they are seeing here tonight. Having a great time here at Champs, a family event.
The boss is laying that chair right into the side of Justice Pain. Looks like he was going after the rib area.
And Justice Pain using the fence almost like a steel cage, running Zandig's head into the steel fence there. And Zandig being taken on a tour of the building.
Justice Pain knows how to take people on. Look at that, head first into the wall, Eric. You see him bounce off of that wall?
That is drywall, that is thick, that is not cardboard, that is pure concrete behind that wall. And right now, of course, Zandig taken out on his own merchandise tables. Is it not good enough for Justice Pain to beat on the champion, but now he's not even going to let him sell merchandise? Is that an axe?
That's an axe. He just axed the back of Justice Pain's leg.
And Zandig right now with a power bomb, and he power bombs him through a table, and the champ stands tall.
If you notice, the blood is starting to drip into the eyes of the champion. It's only a matter of time now before the swelling sets in. He has to end this match, and end this match as soon as possible.
And Justice Pain doing everything he can to hang on. He doesn't know how long it will be before he gets another title shot. It was almost a year before he got his second one here tonight, and look at all the broken glass. Justice Pain, one of the pioneers of the Combat Zone. We talked about it earlier in Nick Gage's match. He put the company on the map and breaking the barrier in a staple gun match against his rival, Nick Gage.
After a match like this, and no matter what the outcome, if you were the champion, would you give a competitor like Justice Pain a rematch after the war you've just been through?
This is personal. It's not about business. This is purely personal. Zandig right now scaling the rope. Again, we have yet to see our third challenger. This is going to be a superplex here, it looks like, if he can grasp him. Of course, both wrestlers have real poor equilibrium at this point. They have been battered around. They probably have concussions, the two of them, so the equilibrium factor is very poor right now with both wrestlers, but a superplex it is.
It looks like Zandig lost his footing on that superplex right there, but on the second attempt he connected. He's going for another suplex.
And Zandig right now has his challenger in position for another vertical suplex. Textbook, he just held him up so he could think about it and just throw him up to the camera.
And look, he goes right into the cover. Big save by
Chase doing? Enough's enough already. Can Brian Logan restore some order around him? You know, they fired Dewey. How about firing him?
What they ought to do is bring the dude back to officiating in CZW.
Please, that's the last thing we need. You can imagine what would happen then. Zandig now picking up his challenger. Looks like he has a trash bag wrapped around his ankle. Justice Pain trying to hold on. Zandig signaling for the mother effing bomb. Remember, he's got that bad arm hit, man. It could be it right here for the challenger. And instead, he drops him down, drops the chin right on the shoulder of Zandig. And Justice Pain is out.
Oh my God, Eric, he could have just broken the jaw of Justice Pain.
And right now, it looks like it's going to be another 3 count. Enough is enough already, just in case.
What do you mean enough is enough?
And Zandig all over the challenger. What's it gonna take? He is a man fighting 3, 4, 5 individuals out there. I'm surprised none of the fans are gonna jump in to help out the Hate Club.
Eric, look at the mat on the glass. The wars that ring see tonight. It's only getting worse, Eric.
Zandig can barely stand up at this point. And Justice Pain using whatever adrenaline he has left. And Zandig presses him over the top and puts him through a table. Justice Pain, forget about it. Bottle him and sell him over the counter. You don't need Red Bull when you got Justice Pain.
He knows how the boss just lunged him over there, Eric. What he has to do is now throw him back into the ring, cover him, and walk out of here with your belt, boss. That's what you gotta do.
Well, how about that barbed wire table there? We've seen Zandig put many of the wrestlers here in CZW and Big Japan through that barbed wire table. What are his plans for that barbed wire table?
Obviously, he has plans for Justice Pain with that barbed wire table. What they are exactly, I don't know, but I will bet you this. We will find out in a few minutes.
And Justice Pain and Zandig notice the fatigue factor playing in effect on both wrestlers. The champ, he can obviously bench press about 500 or 600 pounds in the gym, but at this point in time, having a hard time getting a table up into the ring.
Well, after getting whacked with chairs and bleeding out of the eye, and all the glass and all the cut you had, it's going to take it out of you, Eric. You don't think you can walk into a gym and throw up 500 pounds right now, do you?
Where does this leave the champion at this point? The champion, we have yet to see one of our challengers tonight. I don't think he's going to show up. I think it's one-on-one at this point. And maybe it's better off that way for those two. And Zandig right now placing a table up top.
What's he doing with the table, Eric?
Zandig right now, like an architect, building something in there to possibly finish off Justice Pain, not only for this match, Hitman, but forever.
Look at that table right there. That's barbed wire, Eric. And God knows what else is on that table.
And Justice Pain, I haven't seen him move. He may be out cold. He may have a very severe concussion. Notice how the hedge is bouncing off of that board outside. The table, the hardwood. And Zandig, if enough isn't enough, placing a sledgehammer, those big arms right into the back of Justice Pain, who can barely stand up.
Justice Pain is in big trouble right now. He's got to do something. I don't know what, or else his dream will come to an end.
And Justice Pain, I don't know whether it was instinct, smart, or stupid, but he just climbed up to that table quick as a cat. Maybe looking for an escape, not knowing where he is, just in case having words with them. And Zandig has him in position for the mother effing bomb through that barbed wire table, Hitman!
No, come on, referee, make the count! Make the count!
I hope there's an ambulance ready. Somebody better dig a grave, because I think this is the last we are going to see of Justice Pain. And Zandig right now unable to hold up the challenger.
Wait a minute! Look! Justice Pain turns it into a superplex!
A superplex on the champ. Justice Pain going on pure instinct and adrenaline right now. This has got to be it. And Nick Gage, where did he come from?
Yeah, what's he doing in there?
Nick Gage coming to the aid of his Big Japan Tag Team Championship partner and the white beater behind him.
There you go. The sides are even now, Eric. I don't see you excited now.
Nick Gage sits out with the power bomb just in case, and white beater all over Nick Gage. Nick Gage may regret it. And Rick Blade is back to pick up where he left off with Justice Pain. Remember Cage to the end. Remember last month that they said it couldn't be done. The Hate Club has been stalking Rick Blade.
What's Rick Blade doing in there?
And Nick Mondo in to help out. They were the ones that caused all the problems between Nick Mondo and Rick Blade. Wait a minute, there's Lobo!
Wait a minute!
There's Lobo!
Wait a minute, what happened?
Lobo just scored the cover on the champion! And Lobo may be the smartest man of all, as we have a brand new champion here at No Rules, No Limits.
Lobo, in my mind right now, is a dead man. When the Hate Club finds out what he just did, it's all over for Lobo.
Lobo, the one-man army. You don't see any blood, any scars. He's leaving just as quick as he entered. Rick Flair and Nick Mondo apparently putting aside their differences over Shorty for this common cause tonight. Robbie Marino in the ring. He doesn't know what to make of things. CZW, no rules, no limits.